going, everybody? Welcome back to Talking Wolves and welcome back to a brand new video all about the transfer rumours and transfer gossip surrounding Molineux. It's been, we're just about a week into the transfer window and it's possibly not as busy as some fans would like it to be. Wolves been talking about for the last couple of weeks, adding players, Nuno especially in his press conferences, hinting that the club will be adding players, but no major additions just yet. But in today's video, I'm going to be talking about all the latest transfer gossip with players leaving the club and coming into the club. But before we kick off, make sure you go and check out our channel partners at OneFootball. You can go and check out all of the info on players that you may hear about today in today's video. Check out their stats from their current teams in their current leagues, and of course you could go and check out transfer rumours on that app, or different things such as your results, your scores, your team news, everything on there. So free to download on Android and iOS, and a link to it is in the top of the description down below. But we're going to be starting off with Patrick Cutrone. It has been a really weird and quite a busy saga with Patrick Cutrone. He was one of the players that I spoke about on the last transfer update, and there has been loads going on with him since then. So of course, Patrick Cutrone, let's rewind back to summer. Pretty big signing for us, a brand new player coming in, the most money that we'd spent on a new player. Obviously we'd spent a little bit more on Jimenez and co in the summer, but in regards to summer additions, he was a more expensive player. It was about 16 million euros he came in for from AC Milan. And I think a lot of us expected to possibly see a little bit more football from him than we have seen so far this season. The last few weeks especially, we probably expected to see him play a little bit of football, and it's just not quite happened. And it was rumoured then that he was going to be leaving the club and going back to his homeland in Italy this month. Nuno even hinted at it. I think we all took it with a little bit of a pinch of salt, but then it became quite clear reality. So at the end of last week, he was quite heavily linked with Fiorentina. It looked like it was going to be a loan deal. They were offering about 2 million euros loan fee with a 16 million euro option to buy. And then he wasn't in the Manchester United squad at the weekend in the FA Cup. So it was pretty clear to see if he's not getting in that squad, players like Benny Ashley-Seal starting ahead of him. It's pretty clear to see that he's not in the current plans of Nuno. And it looks like his future would lie elsewhere. It was his birthday over the weekend. Apparently him and Nuno had agreed that he wasn't going to be taking part in this match. So it was his birthday over the weekend. He stayed over in Italy. And then it's come out today that he stayed an extra day to see if they could get this deal over the line with Fiorentina. Now, it looks like this deal is at the moment currently now off. So it's quite confusing to explain, but Fiorentina obviously were looking to strike a deal with Wolves. I've seen contrasting reports, but I'd imagine that Fiorentina wanted to loan him with an option to buy, whereas Wolves, if they were going to let Cutrone go, they wanted to loan him out with an obligation to buy. Which would mean, very similar to the case in Helder Costa, he would leave on loan for the rest of the season, and then Fiorentina would have to buy him come summer. I've seen someone else say the opposite, but I don't really see how that would work for Wolves. And I've seen one today that Wolves were after a clause that they could buy Cutrone back in a couple of years' time. So it's very confusing, but obviously whatever has happened hasn't worked out. Cutrone is now back in Wolverhampton. He's back now training with the club, and at the moment any move for him to Italy is on hold. However, we've still got 2-3 weeks left of the transfer window, so there's a full chance that he may still be moving on to Italy before the end of the month. Because Fiorentina, I think, do have to sell 1 or 2 players before bringing Cutrone in. So that may well happen. We'll move on now. A couple of Wolves players. We'll move on to players regarding loans. Dion Sanderson and Benny Ashley-Seal have reportedly been made available for loan. Dion Sanderson, of course, he was in the squad that won the Asia Trophy. He starred in a few games at right wing back, and he's played a couple of times this season as well. Of course, he's now been available. Apparently, a few EFL clubs have inquired about him. And Benny Ashley-Seal, he's played a couple of first team games as well, most recently starting that game up front against Manchester United. Done well in the under-23s, but it looks like now he's been available for loan as well. Hopefully It is another loan in the EFL as well. Of course, he went out on loan last year to Famalicão, and it didn't really work out for him. So I think a lot of these players now will stay in England. Players coming back in from loans. You've firstly got coming back in or leaving on loan. Jesus Vallejo. It's been a weird season for him as well. Nuno pretty much said in the interview last week that Vallejo's loan will be cancelled. There's clearly talent there, but it's just not quite worked out for Vallejo and Wolves. There's a couple of clubs in Spain that are interested in him, and I think once eventually Real Madrid gets some sort of agreement, he'll probably be leaving Wolves. Rafa Mir as well. It's not quite working out for him with Nottingham Forest. There's interest in Spain apparently, but until Nottingham Forest cut that deal short, he's going to still be there. But I believe there are one or two teams in Spain that are looking at him. And I think if they drum up genuine interest, then Rafa Mir will be leaving the Forest ground. Not quite worked out for him in the Championship as well. Brian Bakari, it's not worked out for him at Wigan Athletic. It's not worked out for him at all this season, really. Reportedly got arrested over the Christmas period as well for fighting. So not too sure what Wolves will make of that, if true. But he's looking to come back from his loan at Wigan. And a final player coming back from his loan deal is Renat Dadashov, signed by Wolves from Estoril in summer, who was loaned out to Pacos de Ferreira in Portugal, and again not quite got the game time, so it looks like he's going to be coming back to Wolves. Whether they play him in the under-23s, I think it'd be interesting to see. Obviously, if Benny Ashley-Seal goes, someone like Dadashov comes in and takes his place as a striker in the under-23s, or whether Wolves look for another loan straight away for him, who knows. Moving on, Ivan Cavallero, of course, you would have seen the news that he left the club. He was on loan at Fulham, and Fulham had an option to buy him. Rumoured to be about £15 million, which I think is a ridiculous bit of business by Wolves, over doubling the money that we'd spent on him a few years ago. Great player for Wolves, really decent player, great in the Championship, and a good Premier League player, but I think for the heights that Wolves want to reach short term, I don't think he's that type of player. Could have maybe done with him as a squad player for this season, but definitely you'd snap anyone's hand off for that sort of money. So £15 million, if true, is an unbelievable bit of business for Wolves. Talking about replacement players for possibly for that sort of role, Thomas Lemar has been a player that was rumoured, the Atletico Madrid star. It's just not quite working out for him in Spain, the Frenchman. Diego Simeone clearly doesn't think there's a future for him. He's more plays as a winger predominantly, but has had a little stint at central midfield as well. Arsenal and Spurs also looking at him, possibly a loan deal for him. I think for Wolves, possibly the financial side of things on one particular player probably wouldn't favour us, to be honest. I don't think Wolves would spend that sort of money on a player of Thomas Lemar's calibre, to be honest. Another one coming in, Nigel Lonwijk, the young 17-year-old PSV defender. This was more or less wrapped up 2 months ago, to be honest. This was agreed. He's a young lad coming in from PSV, centre-back. He'll join the under-18s team. He's already living in Wolverhampton, just waiting on international clearance before the club are going to approve and announce that one. And Leonardo Campagna as well. He's been a striker. I think we spoke about him on the last video. He's been linked now since Christmas Eve, I think was the first time I saw the link. And it's become clear that Wolves are obviously interested in him. He's got a Spanish passport, so work permit's not an issue. And I've heard that it's pretty close to being agreed. So I think if someone like Benny Ashley-Seal goes, again, like I said with Dadashov, Campagna he would go in the under-23s team, or Wolves would look to loan him out as well. But yeah, Leonardo Campagna is another player there. Now, two more Wolves first team players that have been rumoured with moves away. Adama Traore, of course, has been linked with some of the biggest teams in Europe, especially after his fantastic form this season. Barcelona, Liverpool, Manchester City have all been linked with the paceman. And Wolves are valued at him at around £70 million, apparently, a massive fee. And I know a lot of people tend to get quite annoyed at these rumours. But we've got to look now. We're a team on the up. We're a team chasing top 4, top 6 football. We're going to get this every window. We're going to get some of our biggest players rumoured about. That's just what happens when you've got some of the best players in the league. So, Wolves, apparently £70 million they're valued Adama at. There was a rumour that Man City had slapped €80 million on the table for him, which I don't think is quite true, but it's been rumoured by a couple of places that Manchester City would like to know before Wolves make any decisions on Adama leaving the club, whether that be this season or in the future, just so they could have a say in it as well, I think. And another big player, Raul Jimenez, he was linked with a move away as well. Manchester City and Manchester United reportedly inquired about him. That was from Goal in Mexico. Again, Jimenez has made... he seems very happy at the club. He's scoring goals. He's the main man. He's keeping players like Patrick Cutrone out the team. But at times, they just make little comments in press conferences that I just think, if a big team came for you, I could see him genuinely going. Not in January, possibly in the summer, possibly next year, possibly the year after. But you've got to think, of course, Manchester United, they're not in a great place at the moment, but money talks. Manchester United are still a huge team. Manchester City are the Premier League champions. Eventually, they are going to start come knocking for some of these players. I think Jimenez is safe. Jimenez has got it fantastically at this club. The players adore him. The fans adore him. Obviously got huge love from Mexico as well. So I can't see him needing to leave the club. He's in a great place at the moment. He's got international football guaranteed as well. So, yeah, I think Wolves are pretty safe on that sort of front. I think the only first team player at the moment in big danger is possibly Patrick Cutrone. Let me know your thoughts on that one. I've seen a bit of a divide on that one, with fans really hoping he stays and fans not too bothered and sort of want us to look at a replacement. But with that money coming in for Ivan Cavallero, Wolves have got that little bit of leeway to spend some money now in January. It looks like there's nothing imminent, but Wolves really do need to knuckle down. For me as a fan, I would have hoped it was pretty obvious by the end of October, end of November that we needed players. Why aren't players being lined up already? I know it's not as straightforward as that, but you would hope that Wolves would have a plan in place to try and get these players done and dusted as soon as we can. So, hopefully in the next week or so, I'll be bringing another transfer update with more players coming in. But until next time, guys, enjoy the rest of your day. Let me know your thoughts on these rumours. Be sure to hit the like button down below. Subscribe to the channel if you're new. And until next time, I'll see you all very, very soon.